Alright, welcome to After Effects. So this is our project, this is our default workspace. We want to make sure we're in the default workspace by going to Window, Workspace, and Default. Excellent. So we click in our project window, we right click or use two fingers to click on the mouse on the trackpad. We go to Import File. Alright, we're going to import this mix kit. We want to make sure we create composition. This is our background. We want our composition to be the same size as our background, not the same size as our graphic. Alright, so we create this composition. Then we go back and we right click, import file, navigate to the Studio 112 stacked red. Do not create a composition. It is footage. Right, so we open it. And we're going to drag it on top of our background. Notice it is very large. So we can go ahead and fix that by pressing S. Brings up the scale. And we just drop it down to 25% so that we can see what we're working with. And nothing is keyframed, so that's just U. Press U and close it all up. So let me show you how to, so this is your basic workstation. We can move this guy anywhere we want to. Move him anywhere we want. We can move our background. We can add effects. We can change properties. Main thing about animation is you are changing the properties of... Let's highlight this and make sure we're moving this. Changing the properties of the graphics. So we go here and we twirl down and then we get transform. Now these are the common things that you can transform. There are other transformations and we'll get into those later. But just for right now, let's just use these typical ones. So let's keyframe. Let's go ahead and move ahead in the time to 4 seconds. We're going to give 4 seconds and let's keyframe everything. Keyframe opacity, rotation, scale, position, and anchor point. Alright, and we're going to see what each one of them does. So let's look at the opacity and let's set it to 0. Press return. Notice it adds a keyframe when I press return. I press the space bar to play it and notice it's very slow. 4 seconds was a long time. So we're going to highlight all those and move them closer. 2 seconds. We'll do 2 seconds. All right. And we're also going to move our playhead to about 4 seconds. Press the N key so that it will just cycle back and forth on this little bit of the project. Right. This is all we want. Cool. So that's what it does with opacity. Let's set that to 100. Notice it added a keyframe there, so what we need to do is go here, move the playhead back here, and set the keyframe to 100, and remove that one. Alright, so we press it, and no change. Now, let's say we want to take it back to 0. Let's move our position. Notice it's given it an X and a Y. Remember, it's X and Y. These numbers won't ever make any sense, but you can move it around and you see it's moving. So we're going to move it from over here, off screen. Let's go from off screen to the center. And so we press play and it moves right on the screen. Boom. Okay, let's do a couple things from there. Let's go ahead and move it back. Wait. Let's move our playhead back to this negative number. And now let's not do that. Alright, be sure you keep stacked red. Let's do rotation. Let's make it rotate 90 degrees. Or 180 degrees. So we can actually see something. Alright. Make that negative so that it does that. Little roll on. It's kind of nice. It starts at upside down and then it twirls until it's right side up in the center. That's not too bad. Let's say we want to speed that up. Let's go back to our, let's move our playhead back. Let's go back to our keyframe, delete that, and let's set our rotation. Let's set our actual rotation to 6. That's real quick. Let's go with 6. Enter. So it spins 6 whole times. Alright? So you notice you've got number of spins and degrees of change. So you could do just one spin, bring it back to our keyframe, go to 1, that's 1 total. Let's say 0, and let's say it spins 90 degrees. Because that's going to look kind of normal. Boom. Yeah? Alright. So we played with position, we played with rotation. Scale. Scale would make it bigger or smaller. So let's take these keyframes out. Delete those. And let's go with scale. Let's look at what scale does. So with scale, we've got it at 25%. Let's go at 0. Keyframe it. Spacebar. Notice it grows. It just gets bigger and it looks like it's coming from the background. We can do things with that. We can play with that and do lots of fun stuff with it. Anchor point is going to change where it spins. So let's take our anchor point. Let's take our keyframe out. Let's go up here to, press Y and grab the anchor point. It's moving it. I don't want it to move. That's the right one. Let's see what that does. It moved the position and the anchor point. Okay, so it just does a little move. The anchor point is the center. So if we rotate it, we've moved our anchor point, and if we rotate it 90 degrees from that anchor point, let's move this guy back here. Oh, shoot. Move this back here. Get rid of this. Change this to -90. Notice we got a little movement here, and see where the anchor point has moved. Boom. Alright. Next we're going to add effects. So let's reset all of these. And let's delete all of our keyframes. Alright, and let's go back to 0 seconds. Go to 25. Now we want to, alright, now we've got some moving background. So let's do some effects. Let's add effects to our background so that we have something interesting happening there. Alright, so we're going to stop it here and we're going to go back to 0 seconds. We're going to twirl this up. Notice we can twirl these down and do the same sort of animations. But we don't want to do that. We want to go over here to effects. Now notice there are tons of effects. So many effects. Like so much stuff that you'll never use them all. You might use them one on top of the other. But let's go with blur. Let's go with a little bit of blur. Fastbox blur. Drag it over and drop it on our, notice it comes up here. Blur radius is at 0, so let's, we can give it a little bit of, just a little bit. Alright, and then we're also going to go, let's search for mirror. Grab the mirror preset. Grab the point. Set the point in the center. Now when we watch it, we've got a mirror image of what we had, right? And it's a little blurry. So that's just what I've done, just to change it just slightly. I kind of like, and you can do that over time. You can, so you've got your effects right here. Fastbox blur. Let's set this at 0 and keyframe it. And then we'll go 2 seconds ahead and we will make it, let's go 7. It'll be very blurry. Press spacebar. Notice how our background blurs out. Alright, there you go. So we can control all of our effects. We can control all. Options are limitless here. If you have any questions, come and see me.